Welcome to Chems TV. I am Nadine, and you know what it is? We're going to teach you chemistry through the usage of hands-on experiments that you can do not only at school but also at home. And for today's topic, we're gonna dwell on geochemistry. For anything else, I'm now currently outside your home. I'm now in your garden, but you can definitely do this experiment inside your homes. I just want to do it outside. And now we're going to prepare the materials that we're going to need for the experiment. Now, the materials that we're going to need is some pan. If you don't have a pan, you can use a tray or a basin. But yes, this is what I'm going to use. It's a pan that we don't really use. Next is some ice cubes. Straw. It can be metal, plastic, or bamboo. Anything that's available at your homes. Next is a cup of water. Something that can make your tray inclined. Can be a book, but I just saw this outside our garden and this works. And lastly, this is optional, but something to help you clean after the experiment, a paper towel or a towel. And lastly, you'll be needing a soil, of course. It can be a soil or sand. Now, the first thing you need to do, put the soil on the elevated part of the tray. So yeah, you just need to spread. I think this isn't enough soil, but just to show it to you. Here's the soil, the topmost layer of the tray. Okay, after spreading the soil on the tray, we're going to put now the ice cubes at the sides of the soil. There you go. Put it there. It's cold. And now we're just going to be needing to create a riverbed in the middle of the soil. So you can just push the soil and create a line. Now let's take a look at Christian at how he will execute the first experiment.
Hello everyone, so what we'll do is I'll grab some straw and I will use this to blow an air to certain section of this sand. Can you see what happened? Some of the soil broke down and was deposited in random places. The air that I'm blowing represents the wind, which causes the weathering. Weathering is the breaking down of rock or lithosphere when the soil or the sand broke down and got carried away by the wind. It is now called erosion. Erosion is the movement of sediment as a result of weathering. The carried away soil or the sand is now deposited in different parts of the pan or this plate. This is now called deposition. Deposition is the dropping of sediment in new places, like what happened here. When applied in the real world, wind weathering, erosion, and this is called disposition, can be done in two ways. First is the aberration, when the deposit materials were down rock surface over time and change its physical form, and the second is deflation. It is when loose solid particles are removed from the surface and are deposited somewhere else by the wind. But is the wind the only weathering agent? Let's find out through CJ.
Good day! Remember the riverbed that we've done earlier? Grab the cup of water and pour it down on the riverbed. Notice how we created a river-like scenario. We can see how the water broke down the soil in the riverbank. This represents weathering when water is the agent. At the end of the river, we can see how the water carried some of the soil that broke down earlier. This is erosion. Now, let's look at the bottom of the pan. We can see the soil carried down by water and was now deposited here. This process is called deposition. In real-life scenarios, running water can break down rocks by lifting them from the bottom of the stream, causing them to drop and collide with other rocks. Water can also seep through cracks in rocks and eventually freeze due to weather. This then breaks the rocks into pieces. Not only water and wind can execute weathering. What is that another agent? Let's have Mark do the last experiment for weathering.
Last experiment, we will use the ice cubes that were placed here earlier. Ice built up into glaciers that weigh on the rocks beneath and slowly pushes them down under the force of gravity.
Together with advancing ice, the rocks carve out a path as the glacier slumps down the mountain. When the glacier begins to melt, it deposits its cargo of soil and rock, transporting the rocky debris towards the sea.
Now let's have Nadine for the summarization of all the experiment.
Weathering is the breaking down of rocks. Erosion is the movement of the sediment from broken rocks, and deposition is the dropping of sediment in a new place. Without the erosive factors of water, wind, and ice, soil and rocks would simply pile up where it forms and obscure from view nature's weathered sculptures. Additionally, although erosion is a natural process, abusive land use practices such as deforestation and overgrazing can expedite erosion and strip the land of soils needed for food to grow. And that concludes this episode. Thank you for watching here on CAMS TV. Bye!